What is up, everybody? It's Nicole Mendes. I'm the host of the Big 12 podcast and Teams Two Rings with the Softball America Networks. Make sure you like and subscribe to watch all the updates, get all the interviews, all my thoughts, opinions, facts or non-facts. You're going to get it here. It was a week. It was a week in the Big 12 conference. Not just with what everybody knows, OU Texas winning the series, getting that win was massive, but all around the Big 12 conference, there was a lot of movement. There was a lot of games being played. So, as a preview, we are going to have a Texas softball player here on the pod giving her thoughts and opinions on not just what happened this past weekend, but what Texas softball is about and what they're hoping to accomplish come the rest of the season. But I want to talk a little bit about just some of the rules that we've seen in effect. Not only did we see it this weekend with that big series matchup, but we've seen it time and time again in a lot of big games. Twitter got a little crazy, so we're going to talk about that a bit. And then we're going to go on to discuss the Big 12 conference, the Big 12 tournament. It feels like it's far away, but it's coming up pretty quickly, amongst a few other things. But before we get too far in, I would like to introduce our guest. We have Sit. Hey, girl, what is going
Hi,
on? How are you?
I'm
Are
good. How
you
are you?
riding? Are you riding a high right now from the
Yeah,
weekend?
I
Like
am.
all the stuff. So, okay, everybody's gonna want to know this. I want to know this. Forget about everybody else. I want to know this. Going into that weekend, like what was a thought? Because there were times when I'm sure Texas, like you guys started off so hot at the beginning of the season. Like, what the heck? Why aren't we ranked one? And not that rankings, everybody knows rankings right now, they're great, but it doesn't define where you end at the end of the season. But you kind of want to be like, hey, I've put in this work. Why is it not paying off? Like, was there any of that going into? Obviously, OU Texas itself is a big rivalry. This is your second year. Tell me about the thoughts and feelings that you and the team had going in.
So we had just came back from OSU weekend, and we had lost the series then, but we kind of got together and as a team and try to regroup after that weekend because preparing for OU because OU is such a great team, they're a great program, and so just going into that week and knowing hey, we got to reset, we got to regroup, set our focus for this weekend because it's a great team, and so I think everybody took practice pretty seriously, like every bullpen, every all the hitting, everything was so intentional that week, preparing ourselves for this weekend. So I think that was one of our biggest things, just switching gears almost to prepare us for this weekend, and also just not making the game as big as it is. Yes, it's a very big rivalry, has been for so many years, but just not making it bigger than it is because we just have to live in the moment. We have to be in the present. We have to be in the now. So I think that was another thing for us.
Yeah. So I want to touch on what you said about not making the game bigger than it is, because I feel like every softball player knows that, right? You're like, okay, take a deep breath, relax, calm down. But whenever it comes down to it, you can say all that whenever you're in the middle of the game, whenever the game's on the line. It's really hard to live that out. Like, what have you done that you found, okay, this is how I can actually live that out? This is how I can be there in that place mentally and physically consistently instead of like one offs.
Mhm. So, I mean, it's a big difference from last year to this year how I've
Yeah.
shifted my mindset kind of going into games. Last year as a freshman, I had all the nerves. I mean, I faced OU in a couple games as well, and my gosh, my nerves are going through the roof. But this year, I feel like I kind of just got the jitters out. There's still always going to be nerves, no matter what, and it's always good to have nerves because that means you care. But I think I just learn how to trust myself and know how good I am,
Mhm.
know how confident I need to be able to perform to my best abilities. So I think that's another thing that really helped me this year is just being super confident in myself and my team, especially our defense and our offense, because we have a really great team this year. And so just being able to trust them as well.
Yeah, you guys are pretty young as a team. I would
Yes.
say, like, you have a couple of veteran leaders, but as a whole majority, you guys are pretty young. And I think of you guys, I think of Oklahoma State, really young team, but really good. Like, I just get so excited thinking about what the next 2 or 3 years of softball is gonna look like because, like, once like you said, once you get the jitters out, it's like game on. Like,
Yeah.
I've been here, I've done that, like, I know what's going on. Game on, let's go. So,
Mhm.
I think the next couple years are gonna be really fun, but still focusing on this year. So, I've played in those big games and I've felt those jitters and I've learned how to overcome them, but it's tough whenever you have a loss and having to bounce back really quickly. But I want to talk a little bit about Oklahoma State because that was whenever I was like, oh, Sit is good. She's good. And I had seen you before and I knew you were good, but I feel like that was kind of a moment for you where you really got to shine pretty big in a big stage. And I know you guys didn't win the series, but I was just so impressed with you whenever you're going in because Oklahoma State, like, their fans are crazy.
Yeah.
They're crazy. They are
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. They're loud too. And
Mhm.
they're a bunch of rednecks out there just cheering, and I loved playing there, but they're crazy and they're loud. Mentally, what were you thinking? So you talk a lot about your confidence. How do
Mhm.
you stay locked in? How do you find that confidence?
I think just like staying locked in with like me and Reese or me and Katie Stewart, whoever's like behind the plate, just like focusing on like us two and not worrying about the pitch that I'm throwing next or like who the batter is. Like just staying like locked in, like almost like tunnel vision,
Mhm.
like not worrying like about the outside like noises or anything, like how loud it gets or whatever. Just like staying like locked in and just knowing it's like me and her like out there.
Yeah,
I think that really helped. And then like I feel like this year too, I've gotten with our sports psychologist a lot more this year. And I feel like that's really helped as well.
I
Like
love that.
able to work things out because I'm the type of player to like keep everything in like bundled up. I like keep all these thoughts in my head and like I get like so like frustrated with myself sometimes because I'm like I need to like talk it out with somebody, but like I don't feel comfortable doing that. And I found we got a new sports psychologist this year, and I've been able to work with him, and he's been extremely helpful. And I think he's really been beneficial to like my game this year. So I think that's really great.
I love that. Oh my god. Like, the mental side of the game is something that I think you don't think about a ton
Mhm.
whenever you're in travel ball or you're younger, and then you get to college and, like, everything's just so new. You're kind of like, "What's all going on?" Like, being able to have somebody to help you just sit and listen and know that it's not gonna go anywhere and just say, like, "This is what I'm struggling with," and, like, get those thoughts out, but also being able to help you find tools that really work for you on the field to help your performance, to boost your performance. Like, why wouldn't you want that? Like, I my girl, I love that. So talk to me a little bit about the mindset of the team. So Texas, you guys came out hot at the beginning of the year, had a couple of stumbles, but I think like if you're gonna say like, hey, we're fine, it's fine. Beating Oklahoma 2 games in a row, I think that's the way to go. You know, not a lot of teams do that. So tell me about what the process has been like from February to now, because what you look like in February, you're not going to look like the same now. You're not going to look the same in June. It's an ever evolving process, but it's something that you build upon, I feel like month after month. Tell me about it.
So I knew like going into like this year we would have a very talented team. I said that even after our post game conference after our loss against Tennessee and Supers last year. I said it then. Like I was like, I know we're gonna have a very talented team. And so, and like once August happened and we all got together, I was like, yeah, this team's gonna be really really good. And so the whole fall just working together. We all just like work together so well and we all got along very well. Like our team chemistry is like through the roof right now. And just carrying that into season, like we knew we were going to be like great. Like we knew we were going to be a really young and talented team. So just going in with that mindset, like, you know, like this is a dangerous team, like compared to like last year, like, I don't know, it's like a whole different team, like almost like we
Hmm.
have all these different tools that we could use. We have the speed, we have pitching, we have offense, defense, like we have all those tools. And so just knowing like what we have going into the season was like a big thing for us this year.
Yeah. I think with all the chatter that's been going on, obviously what you guys did this past weekend, we saw the Iowa versus South Carolina basketball, like, that was huge.
Mhm.
Women's sports, they're on the rise. Like, we've been knowing this, and we've been waiting for people to catch up. What does it mean to be able to play those games on ESPNU and ESPN and get people tuning in, watching it, and becoming fans of the sport? Like, what does that mean to you personally?
I mean, it means everything to me. Like, I even have people from like my hometown. Like, I grew up in a very small town with like 3,000 people. Literally graduated with like 49 people in my class. Very small town, and just seeing like how supportive the people from my community are, and like keeping up with me. Like, not a lot of people in my area love Texas, but they'll keep up with me and with the sport itself. And like, not a lot of people from my area also watch softball. Like, it's more like baseball, like men's sports, and so just them being able to tune into like women's sports as well, because women's sports has been such a huge thing this year, and just continuing to grow the game. Like, even our game against Texas and OU, like the environment there was insane, and wanting I'm just wanting that to continue on, like, for every game.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? I got to talk to Tara. She runs our Softball America Lead Network. She kind of takes the lead, but she was there that weekend covering that series, and she was just saying it was electric. Like, there were so many people there. I have to ask this because I wasn't there in person, but over the TV, there was somebody who was like doing the horn. It wasn't the whistle. Somebody was doing the whistle in the dugout, and I love the whistle, but there was like a horn. Was that as loud in person as it's like, 'cause on TV, I was like, this is so loud. Was that horn loud?
Yes, it's very, very loud, and I think there's multiple too. I don't think there's just one. I think there's
Oh,
multiple.
there's more?
I
Oh
think
my
so.
gosh.
Pretty sure.
Do you know anybody who has the horn?
I like. I think I know one. One of them's like our super fan, but like a
Mhm.
couple of them might be parents. I don't really know.
Sneaking out, blowing the horn, getting back in. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, some parents just like stay out there,
Yeah.
but it's a preference thing. But yeah, I think there's multiple horns though.
Who is it that whistles in the dugout? I saw somebody tweet about it and said, "It's me. I'm the person." Who is it?
Mia Scott.
It's me.
Yeah. Mia's been doing that since I don't even know. I think maybe travel ball, high school. I don't know how long she's been doing it,
Yeah.
but that's
I
her.
love it. I love it. I was scrolling through my Twitter feed and I was looking and I was like, I saw somebody be like, fans shouldn't be whistling. And I was like, okay, like it's gonna like tune it out. Who cares? And
Yeah.
then I saw the quote tweet of her saying, "It's me. I'm in the dugout. Y'all chill" or something. And I just thought it was super funny. I just cracked up a little bit. I was like, I liked it. I was like, okay, I see you. I see you.
I don't even know how she whistles that loud. Like, it's not like,
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
The way she does it is so weird, but it's so loud too.
Is it like a straight up whistle? Is it like fingers in the mouth, like a little special? Like,
She
what does
does
she do? Is
it's
it
like
regular? Just like
some
a,
yeah, but she like uses her tongue too. It's weird. I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I lost the ability to whistle. I found out in college. I like tried to whistle one day and I was like, I can't do it anymore. So I was super impressed that she does it that loud.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, take me through. I want you to take me through two moments. So whenever you went in this past weekend and you pitched and you got those big time strikeouts, like, and your team, like, hey, they're like, yeah, everybody was fired up. Like, tell me what that felt like what that momentum was like, taking it and bringing it back into your dugout.
I mean, it was huge. Like, I'm not the type of person to like celebrate huge. I may like point every once in a while or like yell, but like I was really feeling it this game. I mean, it was a very close game from like
Yeah.
very beginning. They scored the first inning, and then we didn't score until I think like the fourth or fifth
Hmm.
inning. So I just wanted to be able to like keep that energy up for our team, like not like let up any at all, and just bring that energy back into the dugout. As I knew at some point we're gonna get things going. And I think just keeping like that mindset of like being like super like energetic and carrying that out back onto defense. Like, if we didn't score, like continue with my like confidence and my uh
Your momentum. Yeah, your momentum.
there we go. Sorry, I couldn't
This,
get the word
whatever
out.
this is. Yeah.
Because I don't know if like one thing, if anything, like we want to like win the game. we want to win the series because game 2, like that was to either tie it up or they
Yeah.
take the series. So I really wanted to uh, take that momentum back out there, like in the dugout and then back out on the field.
Okay. I'm gonna like preface this for the viewers. So if you're just tuning in, I'm talking with a fantastic arm for Texas softball. She is just killer. And she had an amazing game 2 against Oklahoma. They ended up getting their first win. They went on the next day to get the second win. But game 2 was like you could feel Texas and Oklahoma were like they both knew there was a lot riding on the line. And there was this moment where Texas was leading 2-1, and bases were loaded, and it was felt like a really dangerous situation. And this freshman steps up into the box and then just cranks one, and the crowd went crazy. And then Oklahoma goes and they call and they say, "We want to review the runner leaving early. The runner left early. The home run was taken away." So that feeling, you take it into Sunday. That same freshman comes up, cranks it, and that ends up being not only the go-ahead hit, but the go-ahead run as well. She single-handedly won that game for you guys. Knowing that her home run yesterday got taken away on Saturday, and then whenever she hit it on Sunday, like, what did that feel like?
That was huge. Oh my gosh. I feel like she channeled all her like anger and like frustration out on that pitch and just took it yard. But Katie Stewart, she's an amazing player. Like I said, one of the talented like freshmen that we have, and just her. I'm so excited for her. Like that was such a huge moment for her, and like that was like the go ahead run, and that's what kept us at like 2, whatever. Um, yeah, so but that was a huge moment for her and for our team as well. Like that really got us going. So
Yeah. I just know, like, in those moments, in those games, whenever that person, like, gets up and it's like, whenever you're like, "Oh, man, like, they deserve this, like, they need this, like, if they get this, like, holy cow." And, I mean, like, what a perfect ending to that weekend to, like, really seal the deal for you guys of, like, she gets a home run and you didn't even hit it, but you're just like, "Yeah, like, let's" you just get crazy fired up.
mhm,
I love seeing the way that you guys celebrate all weekend long. It's been fun all year long. It's been really, really fun seeing how fired up you guys get.
mhm.
Last question, and then I'll let you go because I know you're pretty busy, but, um that was a big weekend and emotions are riding high and you're kind of leveling out the series loss against Oklahoma State. That's a big time push up.
Mhm.
You getting the win against Oklahoma, winning the series this weekend. But what are you guys saying to each other about maintaining this, not just through the rest of regular season, but the Big 12 tournament? Like that's gonna be a dangerous weekend, right? And then immediately after that selection show, you have postseason. How do you guys plan on maintaining it? Like, what are you guys thinking? What are you guys saying?
Well, obviously, I mean, we had a great series against OU, but like
Yeah.
that book is like kind of closed now. Like we got to turn the page to this week. I mean, we have Texas State tomorrow, and they're a great team. They're top 25
Yeah.
ranked. I think they're a little bit slept on, to be honest. And like each time that we've played them, it's been a very competitive game. In our last game that we played them, we won just 1-0. And so it's gonna be a tough. It's still gonna be a tough week. We got Baylor also this weekend, and they swept us
Mhm.
last year. So just taking that momentum like still into this weekend and not letting it happen again. I think that's what our mindset is. And then also like yes, like we had like I said a great series against OU, but like this series win doesn't define our season yet. Like
Mhm.
we still have Big 12s that we want to win. We still have the World Series that we want to win. Like we have all these goals in mind, and so we're not going to let that game like define our season. We got to keep going. We got to keep moving forward and then reach our goals.
I love that because, like, how many times if you see a team get a win that they're like, "Oh, yeah, like, this is it," and you guys are saying, like, "That's great. That was part of the goal to get where we ultimately wanna be, but, like, that's not end game.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a stepping stone." Like, we still have goals that we're still trying to accomplish, and that just means we're moving in the right direction. So,
Mm-hmm.
I love that mindset from you guys. I love the mindset from you. It's been super fun chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I
Thank
really,
you
really
for having
appreciate it.
me. Thank you for having me.
Alright. I'll tune into y'all's game against Texas State. That one, if you're watching, that game is gonna be so good. So good. This series this upcoming weekend against Baylor, that's gonna be legit. So make you guys tune in, cheer for Texas. I can't believe I'm saying this as an OU alum, but cheer for Texas this weekend. I think it's gonna be a big one, but I'm a fan of you personally. So
Thank
thanks
you.
again for coming on. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Holy cow. Like that to me, what you said at the very end of, okay, this doesn't define our season. And the way that she said that, I was like, yeah, okay, Texas, like they have the right mindset. They have the right thing going on. They're thinking mountaintop, they're not thinking scenic view. And that to me is so big. You have to be consistent with that. And then you have Softball America, you have a couple of other rankings that are out, and you have the NFCA, you have the NCAA. There's so many different rankings that are out. Texas are ranked one in a couple of them. You have Duke ranked one in Softball America's rankings, but all kind of mishmash. You have 3 teams that are in that top 5, and they're going to be interchanging. Oklahoma State, they are part of this big question mark of what is the Big 12 regular conference going to look like? Who's going to be the champ? You have Oklahoma, you have Texas, and then you have Oklahoma State. It's going to be a 3-legged race. But to me personally, Oklahoma State and Kansas, those are the ones that are going to be game changers whenever it comes to getting this conference set, getting this conference in order, and who is going to be the determining factor. Now, it may not be because they sweep a series or win a series, but the wins that they kind of nibble away and they grasp at and they get, I think those are going to be the game changers, Kansas especially. But holy cow, what a weekend. I'm so pumped about that. And what it just does for the game of softball, having that kind of game, that kind of finish. If you haven't seen it, I honestly would just highly encourage you guys, go back and watch Friday's game for everything. Go back and watch Saturday's game. And then if you still have some time, go back and watch Sunday's game. It was so, so good. So on my list, I feel like I had to talk about this. I initially felt some things about the obstruction call on Saturday. Took a step back, slept on it, felt some different things the next day. So, the obstruction, this is the scene. And this is something that catchers and base runners have been talking about for forever. As a base runner, I am definitely partial to give me a lane, give me somewhere to run. If I can't slide, how the heck am I supposed to get there? And I understand the argument of catchers of I'm trying to get the ball, I'm not trying to let it get past me. But if I run up too far, I have zero chance. I just surrender everything, right? And it's hard in the middle of a play to be able to go. Is my feet where they need to be? Am I far enough away, but still close enough that I can get a tag? It's a fine line. It's a fine balance. So Texas, they're up 2-1. The last inning, Riley Boone cranks one over the center fielder's head for Texas. Texas, the most textbook. If you are a coach and you want to teach your kids how to do a relay, just go watch this. The beautiful relay, center field to shortstop, shortstop to catcher. Reese Atwood hangs on. I don't know how, because Maya Bland was a runner at first. She goes, she gets sent, and she is going home. If she's safe, OU ties it with a runner at second. If she's out, game over, Texas wins. That is what the game came down to. And Reese Atwood gets trucked at home plate. The catcher just falls down. She's on the floor. Maya Bland on the floor. Her foot touches the plate right away. And there's this moment where everybody is either thinking she's safe, that was obstruction, or she's out, she was out of the way. And there's this moment where you're like, and then everybody goes crazy. OU fans and Texas fans, because they're both so convinced. The umpire ends up calling her out. Coach Gasso calls for a review. They go review it. They come back and they're like, no, she's out. I think the way that the play is called, or the way that the rule has been changed, I think that she was out. And it is tough. It's tough. But if you look at the play, Reese Atwood, the way that is not her body is situated lined up this way. I'm going to give you guys a demonstration. Her body is situated this way versus I'm the runner and I'm blocking, I'm straddling the line. Her body was a little bit more lateral. And so whenever she went to go tag, there was space behind her. And that to me, as a runner, I think she gave enough space for it to not be called obstruction. Now, in the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like that's been obstruction for the last couple years, but they changed the rule. And with the new rule, with the new wording, I think she was out. I think they got it right. Really controversial. We don't have a ton more time, but I do want to talk about another really controversial call that we've been seeing a lot, not just this weekend, not just in the Big 12, but just across the country. And it's runners leaving early. Now, I do feel very passionately about this one. I put out a tweet, called it a hot take. Let me just pull up the tweet because I think it was AJ Andrews who posted, and I quote tweeted it. And she was saying, AJ Andrews said, I can't be the only one who absolutely hates the leaving base early review rule in NCAA softball. I understand where she's coming from. My response was hot take. I like it. Don't leave early. And this is the way I view it. So if you're a base runner and you leave early and you get called leaving early by the umpire before video review, before anything, you get called leaving early by the umpire, the play is dead automatically. And the hit that the runner had or the batter had doesn't count. This is before video review was ever a thing. That was always the rule. So if you're going to be able to review if a runner leaves early, you should be able to review that. Now, some people are suggesting, all right, so let's do maybe you call out the runner and you get the out, but the hit still stands. Now, my only response to that is there is too much at stake as far as if there's a runner at first and say somebody gets a hit, runners at first and second, somebody gets a hit in the gap and you are a fielder and you see the runner at first going to third and you throw to third, you may get her out at third, say she's safe, say the runner, instead of throwing to four or throwing to second, you throw to third to get that runner that was at first. But you review it and that runner at first left early, she gets out. But there's an argument there as a defender, as defense. How do I know, okay, she left early? I could have gone to second. I could have gotten that out at second. I could have tried for the out at home. I didn't even have that option. And now out of my control, I can't even make a defensive play that I would have made if I had known that she had left early. So that to me, I think is also a really big reason why I am a fan of it. And I don't think you can change too much about it. And always like, if you leave early, you're out. The ball is dead. That was always a thing before video review. I don't know what else to say. Um, that's how it goes. That's what it is. That's all I'll say on that. We'll see. We'll see what everybody else on Twitter thinks. I got some pretty strong views, pretty strong opinions on that. Um, and that's just my opinion. And I think it's okay to have your own opinion. I think it's important. We'll see. I think there will definitely be some kind of statement from the committee who makes the rules maybe next year. I think it wouldn't be fair to change the rules mid-season just because too many games, too many close games have been decided because of that rule. If you change it in postseason like that, that's just too much at stake. One last thing that I will leave you guys with before I head out. But what other conference can you have a number one ranking lose and have the team that beat them become the new number one and they're both from the same conference? That hasn't happened in a minute. Big 12, they are here. I always talked about OU, Oklahoma State, Texas. Those are the three powerhouses in the Big 12 conference. But you cannot forget Baylor. They are licking their wounds a little bit, but they're a good team. UCF, they are a solid team. They play Texas really, really tight. And then I think Kansas, you cannot count out Kansas. I am so excited for what this Big 12 tournament is going to be as season goes on, as conference goes on. We're going to see a little bit more shaping up, but it's gonna be a good one. I am so excited. What a time for the Big 12 tournament, because this is the last year that this is the only year that this formation of teams will exist, because OU and Texas after this year, they're moving to the SEC. It's fun. It's incredible. It's competitive and it's good softball. I'm a fan. I love seeing this. I love seeing the excitement, the buzz around softball. I love to hear whatever you guys think. So make sure you tweet at me at Nicole_Mendes_. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, comment below on this YouTube video. Make sure you like and subscribe. But as always, I'm your host. I'm Nicole Mendes for the 10 Teams Big Two Rings podcast on the Softball America Networks. I covered the Big 12, and I can't wait to catch up with you guys next week.